My authentic self happens to be a little bit sarcastic and a little bit sassy, so buckle up, get ready for me to spout some opinions on you. Hello! Look, not to brag or anything, but I shaved my legs and I put on self-tanner last night, so feeling pretty good about myself today. I am gonna start this out with a little good old-fashioned self-promo. I try my best not to do it too much, but it feels appropriate. I don't know why it feels appropriate, but it does, okay? So, shop my guide dog merch collection. 100% of all sales is being donated to the Mira Foundation to empower other blind people to get life-changing guide dogs. You can get this adorable hoodie, which you guys have all been scooping up and loving. This notebook, this gypsy girl mug, my first guide dog. You can get this Dogs Before Dudes phone case, a great life motto to live by, or this cute little puppy love hat. So check that out, fanjoy.co/MollyBurke. 100% of the proceeds are being donated to the Mira Foundation, where my two beautiful guide dogs were trained. So shop it now. Thank you. The Mira Foundation and all the beautiful puppies greatly appreciate it. Also, self-promo, I have been putting so much of my energy and passion into TikTok. That is not a joke in any way. I am posting on TikTok pretty much every single day. I am loving it being in quarantine. You guys know I've mentioned this a couple times on Instagram and even here in videos that I've been feeling kind of creatively stunted because I'm just in these four walls. I have more than four walls in this room. It's an oddly shaped room. There is more than four walls, but whatever, you get the point. I've been feeling emotionally stunted being forced to film in my apartment for more than 2 months straight and not leaving and living in the environment around us. And I feel like TikTok was the exact kind of new creative outlet I needed to push myself to do something new and different, because you guys know this girl makes like 20-minute YouTube videos, and fitting content into less than 60 seconds seems like a real challenge for me, but I needed that creative challenge to like push me forward and re-inspire me. So I've been making educational content over there about life as a blind woman, disability, guide dogs, service dogs, all the things. So please check out @MollyBurkeOfficial on TikTok. Okay, now the reason you're all here. Let me start out by saying my intention is not to offend anybody, but I know I probably will offend some people. So just know I'm not out here trying to like be rude. I am just trying to sit here and speak my truth as a disabled woman and share my opinion on this topic. I know that some of my views about disability are a little bit radical, are very progressive, but my passion is educating, sharing my opinions and thoughts on life as a blind woman, as a person in the disability community. So that's what I'm here to do today. If I get sassy, that's just Molly. I'm not trying to be rude or offensive. I am just trying to express myself in an authentic way. And my authentic self happens to be a little bit sarcastic and a little bit sassy. So buckle up, get ready for me to spout some opinions on you. They may differ from yours, but hopefully I can open your eyes, no pun intended, to viewing things in a bit of a different way. So last night I was texting my friend and mentor Traci. Traci was my special education teacher when I was in grade 11 and 12. She played a pivotal role in my own self-growth and self-discovery as a disabled woman and being a part of this community as a whole. She continues to be a huge part of my life and somebody that's like integral to my continued self-growth and exploration. So we were texting last night about some disability related stuff, sending each other different articles that we found that we think are interesting, whatever. Speaking of, I'm gonna link an incredibly interesting article below about what quarantine has taught us about the disability community that we can take into life after quarantine. Please read that article. I'm gonna pin it in the comments. It's such an incredible article, and I feel like it might help people better understand the social model of disability, which is the type of model of disability I follow, versus medical model of disability, which I believe is more like widely known and widely followed by able-bodied people who then pass that on to disabled people. Read that article, it's great. Anyways, we were sending each other articles back and forth, different videos, talking about disability fetish, talking about quarantine disability, talking about interabled couples, which is, you know, couples where one partner is able-bodied and the other partner is disabled. So we're just having a whole discussion, and we both have a mutual disdain for the term handicapped. If you would like a video on why you should never use the word handicapped, let me know. I would just like you guys to know that I just ranted for a good 20 minutes to a phone that's sitting on a tripod that was not recording. So let's do this again. It caught the first 6 minutes that you just saw, and then the entire meat, juice, the good stuff of this whole rant, gone. So take 2. I said some really great stuff that first time, but you guys missed it. So hopefully it's as good this time. Let me say, this is just my thoughts on the topic. And if you have a different opinion, you do you.
Sorry, that was Gallop moving the tripod.
Gallop, dude, I've already had to refilm once. Is he laying under the tripod?
Yes, yeah.
I swear to God, Gallop, if you knock the tripod over. So I am simply sharing my opinion. If you have a different opinion, great. That's what makes the world go round, is everybody having different opinions. But this is my channel, and my channel is where I like to educate people on my life. So I'm speaking for myself, but what I can say is that every single one of my friends who's disabled, whether they're blind or have a different disability, feels the same way I do about this. So I am certainly not speaking for all disabled people, but what I can say is most of my friends, all of my friends in the community also feel this way. So take that with a grain of salt, take that for what you will. All right, so differently abled. I can't even say it without feeling like a little cringy inside. I feel less offended by handicapped than I do by differently abled. Maybe offended isn't the right word. I feel less uncomfortable. So my mentor and I were discussing this, and she was like, gosh, I'm just glad this person didn't use the word handicapped. And I was like, thank God, but it would have been even worse if they used differently abled. And we kind of started that discussion, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I should sit down and share these thoughts and opinions with my audience, because I don't know, I feel like that's kind of what you guys come to me for. So when people use the word handicapped, the reason it upsets me less than differently abled is because when people use the term handicapped, it's often coming from a place of ignorance. They're using it because they're not aware or they're not informed of the history of the word handicapped and why it's an inappropriate word to use. You know, in Canada, you don't really hear it used at all anymore, or you only hear it used by much older generations. In America, it's still quite widely used. And when people use it, you know, if they're like, oh, the handicapped bathroom stall or the handicapped hotel room, I'll usually just take the opportunity to quickly say, hey, just so you know, the word handicapped probably isn't the best word to use. I would use the alternative of accessible bathroom or accessible hotel room. So I kind of take it as like, they're just not educated on it. Once they are, they will no longer use the term. So it doesn't bother me as much. The reason differently abled bothers me more than handicapped is because the people who say it usually say it because they think they're like woke. They think they're being progressive. They think that they're being like inclusive. They think they're being supportive. And in reality, I think it's the very opposite. The term differently abled to me is a term people use when they're uncomfortable about disability. So blindness, the B word, as I call it. A lot of people are uncomfortable calling me blind. It's like they think I don't already know. Like they'll be like, Molly is visually impaired. She can't see as well as everybody else. And I'm like, no, I'm blind. I'm just blind. That's it, blind. And it's like that with differently abled. People who use the term, it's like they're just really uncomfortable about disability, but they're actually trying to make it seem like they're super comfortable with it. They're so progressive, they're so about equality that they view everybody as equal. We're not disabled, we're simply differently abled. And there's multiple reasons it bothers me. People tweet me all the time or comment on my YouTube videos, and they're like, I wish she would stop calling herself disabled because she's just differently abled. She can see the world with her heart instead of her eyes. I'm like, okay, like, do I have abilities that able-bodied people might not have? Yes. My fingers can feel detail like you would not believe because I'm trained to read Braille. My ears can hear ridiculously quiet sounds because I was trained to use passive echolocation. So yes, I do have different abilities, but that does not negate the fact that I am blind. I cannot see. And with that comes a whole host of challenges. And when you try to take away disability and replace it with differently abled, what you're doing is taking away away all the challenges that I and my community continue to face because of the lack of accessibility, because of the lack of true inclusion, because we stop having the conversation about the problems when we start having this conversation of differently abled. When we only ever put a positive spin on disability, we take away all the negatives that exist. And when we stop acknowledging the challenges, when we stop acknowledging the problems that still exist for disabled people, we stop solving them. We need to talk about the fact that there are problems that occur when you're disabled, because when we talk about them, we can think of solutions and we can move forward as a society. This world needs to be a hell of a lot more accessible than it is. And when we just call people differently abled and talk about how great all of their other abilities are, we can't talk about ways in which we need to change as a society. And when people tell me that I'm just differently disabled, I'm not disabled. It's like they're trying to make me feel better about myself, but little do they know, I feel great about myself. Like, I think I'm pretty great already. Like, you don't need to try to make me feel good. You know, I am a strong, empowered, confident, capable, disabled woman. And when I hear the word disabled, I just take it very literally. Disabled. Cannot do something, does not have a certain ability. I can't see. I am disabled in that way. And it's okay for all of us to admit that. It doesn't upset me on a daily basis, you know? It's not something that I feel sad about. And I truly believe we give words power. So if you want to make it into a negative thing, you can, but also you can make it a really amazing positive thing by being a part of this wonderful, positive, empowered community, the disability rights movement, the social model of disability, the community around that. And, you know, people often want to know my opinion on disability first language versus person first language. So disability first would be blind girl, person first would be girl who is blind. And honestly, I don't care. Either way, I'm Molly and Molly's blind. So for me, that one isn't really a big deal. It's like, sure, if I had to, like, you know, there's like a gun to my head and I have to make a choice, I would rather person first language, girl who is blind. But at the end of the day, if you say a blind girl, it's still true. Like, it doesn't bother me. But differently abled, like, makes me cringe, makes me uncomfortable, irks me in a deep, deep way. And same with handicapped. It's a word I really dislike because of all the negative connotation behind it. And so all I'm asking is, please never refer to me as differently abled. Please never try to spin some like positive quote about my disability to put a band-aid over the fact that I can't see. When people say differently abled, for me personally, it feels condescending and it actually diminishes the challenges that I do live with daily. So, do I see all the other abilities I have? Absolutely. But I also recognize the very real challenges that I have. Both of those are true, but differently abled? No, don't do it. If you are somebody who uses the term differently abled, whether it be, you know, to describe your child who has a disability, or, you know, maybe you have a disability and you use it to describe yourself, I challenge you to really think about how you feel about disability as a whole. Are you still uncomfortable about it? And if you are, that's okay. The acceptance phase, like, it's a phase, it's a journey, and it takes a long time. But are you using the term differently abled because the term disability makes you uncomfortable? Are you using differently abled because you're surrounded by people who believe in the medical model of disability and are trying to put like a positive spin on it? Are you trying to fake being comfortable or confident with disability? Because I truly believe that when you get to that place of true acceptance, being fully confident as a disabled person, the word disability will no longer be scary, will no longer feel negative. It'll just feel like accurate. It'll just feel like the honest truth. And you might yourself start to view differently abled in a different way. So let me know, join the conversation. I want to hear your opinions on this. What do you think about what I've said today? Let me know if you would like me to do that video on the history of the word handicapped and why there's better alternative words to use. Let me know if you want a full deep dive video on the social model of disability versus the medical model of disability. I've used the the term throughout this video. Some of you might be confused by what it is or what it means. I did go quite in depth about it in my audiobook, It's Not What It Looks Like, which as always is linked below if you want to listen to that. We're all looking for things to do in quarantine. That could be a thing that you do, listening to my audiobook and learning about social versus medical model of disability. I know a lot of my views on disability are progressive, are radical. You might have never heard, somebody talk about this before. So take some time, let it marinate in your mind. Let it sift through your brain. You don't have to be a keyboard warrior and go right down there and yell at me. You can just take a moment, think about it, then share your opinion. This is just my thoughts. Like I said, I don't speak by any means for everybody. This is just how I feel about it. Like I said, I think in order to address the problems in our world, we need to talk about the problems and recognize that they're real and they exist. And at the end of the day, the world still has a lot to do before it really truly becomes inclusive and accessible for all of us. And we need to talk about the challenges that we as disabled people face in order to help create those changes. And when we put that label of differently abled on it, all of a sudden we take away the very real challenges that we do face. As I said, for me personally, it feels condescending, makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. And you don't need to try to make me feel okay about my disability. You don't need to try to put a band-aid on it. You don't need to try to dance around it. I'm blind, I'm disabled, I own it, I love it. It's a big part of me. I fully embrace it. I'm confident. It's okay. And I hope that if you're disabled, you can get to that place in your life as well, where you truly can love and accept and feel confident with your disability as well. So I think that's all I have to say. Also, don't forget to follow @MellyBurkeOfficial on TikTok, shop my guide dog merch collection, check out my book. This is it's a whole self-promo, and click up here if you want to see the video where I talk about why I don't want to be cured of my blindness. It's an oldie but a goodie, so check it out. Up here, we can check out the video where I recently tried to do a manicure on my own while in quarantine. Gallup helped out a lot. He featured heavily in that video, so check that out. It's pretty fun. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and the notification bell so you know every time that I upload. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you feel like you learned something new, or you just like hearing me rant about topics that you're unfamiliar about. And I don't know, if you need to pee, go pee. If you want tea, make some tea. I'm gonna go make tea. So, alright, love you, bye.